Hi, everyone, and welcome to New Money, where we talk to movers and shakers about how they made it. I'm Rosemary Miller here with Shaun T, the OG fitness motivator. Shaun, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Fitness motivator, transformer. I'm going to let the people know that we had a little conversation before we started. You were doing, T25 at 14. So, OG is good, though. But I love to call myself a transformer to help people transform into the best them.
Yeah. And what motivated you to do that?
To be quite honest, I think it was very subconscious. I had a really, really tough childhood emotionally. And I think that my needing to have to kind of fight my way through life, especially mentally, that's why I have a Conquer Your Mind on my arm, especially mentally, just made me want to help people transform. It was just embedded in me as a young person. And I always say, through struggle comes strength. Not all struggle is deserving, but if you can utilize it in the best way, I think it can move mountains, and that's exactly what I did.
You turned your pain into power.
Hey, pain to power, get into it.
Absolutely. So could you detail some of the challenges you faced as a child?
So the biggest challenge I faced is sexual abuse. From the time I was 8 to the time I was 12. It was a very tough and trying time. I wrote my book about it, Tears for Transformation. Just all of the mental barriers that come along with that, just feeling like everything's your fault, hiding from the family, secluding yourself, feeling alone. And at such a young time where you're not able to process why this is happening. Number one, try to process how to get through it. So you're just basically, what I like to say, throwing noodles up against the wall just to live to see another day. And eventually, when I was 14 years old, I moved out of my house. I moved out, and I was just like, I don't know what happened, but in my head, I was like, I cannot stay in this toxic environment anymore. I just knew it was like a cesspool of negativity for my life. And I went to move with my grandparents, and everyone was like, why do you want to move? And I was just like, I just want to feel free. I was like, I just want to feel free. But no one really dissected that answer and wanted to know why. But I knew why. And from that point forward, it was like, my grandfather was a pastor. And I was in church 5-6 times a week, literally. I knew the Bible, I think, almost inside out. But I say all that to say, when I moved in with my grandparents, it was my true being born again. In Christianity, they talk about being born again. And for me, when I was 14 years old, I just said to myself, wow, this is what it feels like to live. And I was like, if everybody can feel this way, it's just an amazing thing. And so my life's journey is to make people feel that way. Just a constant rebirth of themselves so they can feel free. They can be happy. We're not here for a long time. I know when I was a younger person, and people would say, time flies, I used to be like, leave me alone, I'm having fun. But it's very, very true. So I say, embrace the moment and have a good time. Not every day is going to be great, but there are great moments to every day. And I just feel like I want people to feel that and to be able to bring that out, and I want them to have the power to do it themselves.
You certainly are a motivator.
I am. Thank you.
So the strength, you're strong right now. Do you feel like maybe that's why you decided to make fitness the thing, because it made you feel strong?
Very interesting question. So truth be told, fitness is a nightmare. If you ask most people in the world, they don't want to get themselves up to push themselves to the brink of disaster, is what I like to say. However, the reward is so great. But what I attach to is fitness is fine until it gets really hard. It's when it gets really hard where I start to enjoy it. For some reason, it's just the challenge of pushing myself, meaning my body, to the next level is also synonymous with me motivating myself in my head. So all of those people who did Insanity or T25, or even if you're a dancer, or even if you're a skier, there's a point that if you do it long enough, reach a moment of exhaustion, or you reach a moment where you can't push anymore. And the only reason you continue to push forward is because you conquer your mind. That is it, because your mind is telling you can do this. So for me, being able to push myself and give myself constant motivation in the moments of working out immediately translates and transforms into my life. So if I'm going through a tough time in life, if I have to have a tough conversation, or if there's challenges at work and trying to move to the next level, I'm like, well, if I can push my body to do that, I can do that. And then secondly, there's a subconscious thing that happens for people who work out every day. I would use insanity, for instance, because it's terribly tough. But for people who do 60 days of my workout insanity, for instance, you're constantly telling yourself, keep going, keep going, keep going. While you may be doing it with your body and you may want to do it because you want to look good, there's still that subconscious thing that's happening where you're saying, keep going, keep going. That's positive reinforcement for yourself. So you're training your brain to talk positive to yourself. And so that's why I absolutely love fitness. That is the reason why. That is the reason why my new workout is called Dig Deeper, because I just believe that if people can talk to themselves, to push themselves, they have constant motivation coming from themselves, where they can be the best them that they can possibly be.
Shaun, I'm curious. I want to know the story between you being this college student, I looked you up, you being this college student who gained 50 pounds,
yes,
to you teaching insanity. Fill us in, fill in that
She's
gap.
like, where's the gap here? You know, so I grew up not having a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so there was a time when I was a kid where I would wait till everyone went to sleep in the house, and I would sneak downstairs and I would climb up on the counter, my 7-8-year-old self, and I would get the bread and I would like hide it literally in my underwear. I know that sounds so crazy, but I was like, I can't get caught because we only have a certain amount of bread and a certain amount of food. But I was hungry, so I was like, so I want you to think about that in a way of I had to hide food to eat it and whatever when I was hungry because we didn't have money. So when we got to college, when I got to college, I had a food card and you could order Domino's. I had a scholarship, so I was just swiping that card at the student center, and I was like, I was eating pasta. I was eating everything you could possibly imagine. Well, you know what? Calories in means calories gained if you're not pushing the calories out. And so once that happened, I just changed my major from communications to sports science, where I had to teach classes. And so the journey from that weight gain to insanity was literally, it started with dance, because I was like, you know what? I can dance, and I was also a track athlete. I was like, I can dance and I can run. So how can I combine the two? And so it started out with dancing. And then from dancing, I got into fitness. I was certified to teach everything from spinning to kickboxing to step aerobics to, I mean, anything that was in fitness, urban rebound, that was anything.
Didn't your first class have like 90 people sign up for it?
Yeah, yes, it did. So my first class was a hip hop class. But, I was like, I was kind of popular on campus at the parties the circle.
Excuse me.
When the dance circle happened, when it was like, wow. There was no way. There's never been a time, even as a 45-year-old man, there's never a time that there's a dance circle happening at any party, any baby shower, any wedding, that I'm not going to be in the middle of at least for 5 minutes. And I've always been like that. I'm holding my integrity to that. But so once that happened, I forgot where I was. I'm just so excited to talk
90
about it.
people in the class.
Oh, my 90 people. So once I wanted to teach class, I went to the director of the student center and I was like, can I teach a dance class? And she was like, have you ever taught before? I was like, no, but I know how to dance, And she was like, okay, have at it. This is the date. And so I went to the school newspaper and I put an ad in the newspaper that I was going to teach a class. I was thinking only maybe 30 people would come, just because it's a dance class. Yeah. And so 90 people showed up and the director came to me and she was like, okay, Shaun. She was like, the class only fits 60 people. So you will either have to do one class and 30 people leave really upset, or you'll have to do 2 classes back to back. And just by nature, I choose the hardest way because it's the most challenging way. And I taught 2 classes back to back, and I never stopped teaching. From there, I got on the schedule. I changed not changed my major. I added a dance minor, theater dance minor to my major in college. Then I started doing shows. I got hired around the state to teach dance classes and to choreograph. Yeah. Went on to teach and choreograph for cheerleaders, cheerleading competitions.
But what was that feeling? What was that feeling like after you taught that first class? Was it like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life?
Anyone who's ever had a runner's high, you ever run and you're like, no. But for those who have a runner's high, did you ever have a liberating feeling, like such a euphoric feeling of either being proud of yourself or something, like you just were so happy? Like imagine the happiest you've ever been. That feeling is what I felt when I danced. When the beat comes on, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for everybody in the room. Not because I'm the best dancer or the worst dancer, but just because music makes me feel that great. I literally get lost in the music. So once that happened, I just started teaching and teaching and teaching. And then I started going to fitness conventions, teaching dance and taking a lot of classes. And then I started winning awards for fitness all over the world. I won like best international presenter at one point. And so then I moved to LA to become a professional dancer because I was just like, why not, you know? And I was teaching classes at Equinox, and a producer came in one day and was like, hey, your class is really good. Like, did you ever consider having DVDs? This was in the DVD era. And I was like, I didn't, but I kind of did. But I was just like, yeah, I think it would be fun, And I did Hip Hop Abs, which is my first program with the company Beachbody, now Body, and that was all she wrote.
And the producer, he set you up with Beachbody?
She set me up with Beachbody. She was a producer at Beachbody, so she came and she was like, you want to do this? I'm like, absolutely. And so then we produced my first infomercial, which was Hip Hop Abs, my first program, which a lot of people still, I was on a plane the other day, some woman walked by, she was like, tilt, tuck, and tight, and I was like, hey! I'm like, yo, this is literally 17 years old, this workout, and I'm like, come through, So, and so I say that because it's still very impactful to people, which makes me really happy that I made the decision to do it. And then 2 programs later is when I came out with Insanity. And I had to fight to get the Insanity workout. Not fight, but like I had to sell myself because everyone looked at me as the dance fitness guy because I created 2 dance workouts. And I was like, no, I'm an athlete first. Before I was a dancer, I was an athlete. And
Tell
then
us
so
about that.
my athletic background?
No, tell us about the fight.
Oh, the fight.
Yeah.
So I walked into the office of the CEO of Beachbody. His name is Carl Deichler. And I was like, actually, I think we were having a meeting. So we were in a boardroom. And I walked up to him and I was like, I really want to do this workout, this like really intense workout. And he was like, no, you're just my dance guy. And I said, maybe you don't know who I'm like, did you just turn me down? We still talk about it to this day, so I'm not talking trash on him. He knows. I was like, okay. I was like, give me 24 hours. And I called up a few friends, and we actually went to a dance studio. Haha, pretty funny. But we went to a dance studio, and I filmed Insanity. I filmed some Insanity workouts, and I sent it to him. And like literally, probably like 30 minutes after he called me up. He was like, this is yours. Because what happened was I created this workout where I'm doing the workout, and everybody else after like 15, 20 minutes is on the floor like tapping out, and I'm still going. I'm like, let's go. And he was like, holy crap, like if we can get people to do that. I'm like, absolutely. If we can get people to push themselves to that level of fitness, they're going to hate it, but they're going to be joyful about it. They're going to feel really good. They're going to change their body. They're going to change their mindset. And so Insanity released in 2009, and it was the #1 infomercial for 7 years in a row.
It ran all night.
It ran all night. Anytime somebody picked up chips, order some food, whatever it is, that pizza, Domino's, when you come home late from the club, Shaun T was on the TV like ripped, flexing, pushing people through, showing before and afters that you just feel horrible about yourself. No, I'm kidding.
Wow, this is actually crazy to me. Because it really ran all night, Shaun. I remember this.
All night long.
So what gave you like the idea, like where did you wake up one morning like this is a good idea? What was that moment where you thought up Insanity?
Well, believe it or not, Insanity was a workout that I was teaching in college. Nothing that I have newer stuff now, but workouts that I put out on television or on DVDs or streaming up until recent were workouts that I created 20 plus years ago. It was just my live class. And, once I created Insanity, then people were like, it was Insanity and P90X. I have to give Tony Horton, who's another Beachbody trainer, like a lot of credit, because he did the tough lifting. I did the tough Hit cardio. But I was just like, no, we have to do this. Like this is where it's at. I know I was really over the infomercials that would say, drink this and you'll be ready to go to South Beach for a week. I'm like, this is impossible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, you can't cut your calories back and drink instead of eat, but I'm like, this is not longevity for people. So with Insanity, I still see people walking down the street on the subway in New York City, and they're like, yo, I got to get back on my Insanity. They're like, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. They're like, I still work out. But they were like, that was...
Yes.
And it's not a workout that I want you to do forever. I actually created that workout also because I wanted you to know how hard you can push, so every other workout you do is mentally easier. Like, of course, there's going to be tough moments in other workouts, but when you think back to those Insanity moments where you're pushing yourself and you're dripping and you barely can do one more push-up, you're like, I got this. It's just like... Insanity, while it is fitness, it is life training. And I've taken that and I put it into my new workout, Dig Deeper, that has no jumping. It's all weight-bearing activity. It's like really good for your muscles and your joints.
Well, Shaun, before we get into that, I want to go back to you saying the weight loss shakes, because now there's the shot, right? The diabetic shot that people are using to lose weight. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on people wanting to feel good about themselves and however they get there, if it's safe, if the doctor says it's fine, do it. However, what are you doing for this? Because getting the shot without controlling your nutrition or learning about the controlling of your nutrition is not really the answer. Because what happens if or when that shot goes away? Then you're just gonna slingshot your way back to what you were doing before. So it's just like when people get gastric bypass surgery, they have to go through therapy and some sort of nutritional therapy before they get the surgery, because what can happen is they shrink your stomach and you can't eat a lot, and then what happens is you lose the weight, but then your stomach will expand again, and then people start eating again. So when it comes to anything, when it comes to people getting a shot, I'm like, if it's accessible and not getting in the way of people who have diabetes, by all means, do whatever it is. It's your life. It's literally your life, and you have to make the decision to do it. But what are you going to do to change your behavior? Because at the end of the day, if you're not changing your behavior, then this shot, what it does is suppresses your appetite. Okay, but when you stop taking that shot, your appetite is coming back. This shot slows down your digestive system, which... Okay, but if you're not eating and you're not regulating your digestive system and you don't know how to eat to keep your everything moving, then is it really a healthy option for you? Some people choose the healthier option being, aesthetically and physically pleasing to themselves or for other people, which will make me go here, which is pretty controversial what I'm going to say, but most of the time we aim to lose weight to get to a certain weight that is way beyond anything that we need to do. I say most people say, oh, I want to get back to the weight I was in high school. I'm like, really? Like, let's talk about where you were where your hormone levels were in high school. Let's talk about mentally where you were in high school. Let's talk about responsibility where you were in high school. So people put so much pressure on themselves because of society to look a certain way, and they choose to do things that don't necessarily, they're not necessarily aided by changing their behavior as well. But I'm like, whether you want to get gastric bypass, you want to take a shot, you want to, get some, cosmetic surgery, I'm like, go for it. I'm going to celebrate you. I'll go to the beach with you. I'll help you go buy the bathing suit. But I'm also going to be like, okay, so, but what are you doing for your internal health and your mental health as you go through this process? I think that is the question. And I even say that to people who judge people that do that. Oh, they only lost weight because they did the shot. I'm like, okay, but what are you doing?
True. That's true.
I'm like, at least it's a step.
Right.
But I think that mental health is really, really important, especially when it comes to you wanting to look better for yourself. Ultimately, we want to look better because of what society thinks is beautiful. Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But I
like how you focus so much on mental health. It's not just about the looks, but it's about what's inside as well.
People are walking around unhappy.
Yeah.
People are walking around like behind the scrim. At the beginning of a musical, a lot of times there's a scrim and you see like what's happening, but it's not real life. Yeah. And that's how a lot of people are walking around, because their desire to please other people in society, and they're not living their most authentic and true selves. Yeah. But if your mental health is on point, man, I'm telling you, it's the most joyous feeling. Combined with, getting older and wisdom. I mean, it definitely is a process for you to get to that place, but I just really, mental health is huge for me. It literally changed my life.
Well, Shaun, at the very beginning of this interview, I called you the OG fitness influencer. So what are your thoughts on fitness influencers these days? Or people who, I don't know, maybe they don't even have a personal training certification. They're just teaching. What are your thoughts?
Desire to be great is great. Yeah. That's what I'll say. I think a lot of people have their own reasons to become an influencer or to be great at something or to want to have, 1 million followers or get 30,000 likes on a post. There is motivation behind them wanting to do that. It's really great. It really comes down to the user. Like, how much knowledge does this person have? Are they telling me the truth? And is the service that they're offering me actually getting me long-term results? Right. But to the influencer, I'll say this. Just, humans are like snowflakes. So even if you're a fitness influencer, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. I promise you right now, everyone has a different perception of the world. So even if you're a fitness influencer, you have a different perception of what fitness is. So don't try to mold into what's working for everybody. Find that moment or that thing that you're passionate about in fitness for you, and that is the thing that's going to make you stand out. And then you don't have to try hard. You really don't have to try hard to stand out. You just have to be yourself.
Well, Shaun, I want to quickly ask you a few money questions before I ask you what's
come
next.
on, money. Money.
So could you tell me, how did you learn how to manage money because you had rather humble beginnings, right?
Yeah.
To today. How did you learn how to manage this money?
Well, it was definitely a struggle. I mean, when I first came into money, I just wanted to spend it because I never had it, And then through years of building businesses, building different business entities, having to pay people, having to pay health insurance, and, just like as you get older and people, the song More Money, More Problems. Yeah, more money does, I don't say it causes more problems, but it makes you have more responsibility. Okay. Responsibility with your communication to people, responsibility with you being able to save. And so, I have to give lots and lots of props to my husband, Scott, because he is the one that took our money, and I've learned a lot from him of being able to take the money we have and make it grow. And for me, I like to call myself a hustler. Like, I can make money. I can go out there and make money right now. Yo, you want a goal? I have a goal of making $1 million. I promise you right now, I can make $1 million in a completely different business than I am involved in right now in a year. I can do it.
Do you have any investments?
Oh, I have
plenty of investments. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want to share a few with
us?
I mean,
I have my financial advisor is on point.
He's on it.
He makes it happen. But I say all that to say that like my strength is in making money,
Yeah.
and then having a financial advisor and a spouse that knows how to make the money grow is just really it's important. And obviously I know about it and I learn about it and I'm into it. But just like raising kids, I'm like, it takes a village. And so you can save money alone, but I highly recommend getting like a financial advisor. That is pretty much the best thing. You know, for me it was my spouse and my financial advisor, but it's pretty much the best thing because you know, you hear it from football players, basketball players, people who win the lottery that come from the hood, that come from no money. Lots and lots and lots of people lose their money. They could probably make $20 million, and then, you know, 20 years from now they have nothing because they don't know how to control it. So, you know, you have to find somebody you trust to trust you with your money so that your money can trust you. And then later in life, you can be like living your best life. You can be in the Maldives. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's I'm so happy because when it comes to money, because I'm at a point where I can put thousands of dollars into my kids' bank account every month. So when they get 18 years old or when they graduate college or whatever we decide we want to give it to them, like it's going to set up for their first business. It's not just like, here's the money, here's a free-for-all. If they go to school, the money's going to go to school. They're not just getting the money. It's like, oh, you want to start a business? All right, we set aside some money to help you start a business. So, you know, I think I know for sure that's the other thing that, you know, makes me happy about saving money and making money, because I have these two little boys that I just love so much that, you know, it's my job to help them grow in life. And so that's what we're doing.
You know, what's really interesting to me is that it sounds like Steve Harvey has this thing. I would tell the same $10 jokes, and I'm telling them today, but I'm just making a whole lot more money for those $10 jokes. That's exactly what you're doing.
You know, I'll tell you this. When I first started doing fitness events, I mean, I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like $1,500 to travel to Europe, which is a good amount. 1,500 euros. I was happy. I was like, I got on my plane, you know. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not saying I'm better than anyone when it comes to money, because when you start talking about money, but this is the motivating factor. So I was like, okay, I'm making my $1,500. All right, let me get 3 classes. Let me make, you know, 4,000, you know, do my little negotiation, to the point where I would be traveling back and forth to Europe so much that I would get upgraded. And then the first time I got upgraded to business and I was able to lay down flying from LA to Germany, I was like,
not you stretched out on the plane.
I was like, you think I'm sitting back there again? Nothing wrong with sitting back there. But me investing my time at that point in my craft to be able to up-level myself, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I have to make a way to not sit back there. So then I'm like, how am I going to do that? I'm going to be really good at what I do so that one day I can charge a hell of a lot more, and now I don't have to leave my house for less than $30,000. Right? So this is the thing. You were talking about influencers, right? Yo, like that, but I'm only able to do that because I provide a service that people need, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm doing it in a way that's most authentic to me, and people have tangible results. But if I were to conform to do what everyone else was doing, I'm just not believable, and nobody's going to pay me that money, because they're like, I can get that from over there. You can only get one Shaun T. You know? And I'm going to give you everything I got to help you transform.
Well, Shaun, what's next for you?
Oh, next up is, I kind of mentioned it before, but next up is my program, Dig Deeper, where I take fitness to the next level. As I'm getting older, I'm 45 now. I know people don't want to jump as much anymore. And I got involved in bodybuilding because I had a shoulder injury that really prohibited me from even doing fitness. So there was a whole year where I just wasn't in the best shape that I wanted to be in, because my shoulder was giving me lots of issues. So I had shoulder surgery. I walked into my physical therapy center. One of my physical therapists was a woman who she was just incredible and amazing. Her name is Kristen. And I just said to her, when I can start lifting weights again, can you train me? And she was like, sure. She didn't even think about it. She was like, sure. Come to find out, she did Insanity in her summer of her 8th grade going into 9th grade. And it was a full circle moment for her. So she trained me for the last 18 months to get my body to where it was. And the strength that I feel, the mobility that I have, the peace that I have and being strong and confidence that I have, I was like, I need people to feel this way. And so the program Dig Deeper, it happens it's a 3-month program, but I tell people to do it for at least a year to get major muscle development, max muscle maturity. But it's not just a workout. I'm definitely Shaun T. I'm definitely wild. I'm definitely like giving you some entertainment because I need to keep you occupied. But I'm teaching you how to use your muscles in a way that you've never learned how to use them on a home workout DVD or workout streaming platform before. And so I'm just really excited. I know people are going to feel the results, see the results, and change the way they're going to change their bodies, and just going to be like, the physical results are great, but I'm just wait to hear how confident people are. I actually went out to dinner with a friend of mine who was in my workouts before. I've known for maybe 12 years. And last night we sit down to dinner. She's like, she was in a test group for this program. She's like, feel my arms. I'm like,
and that's
crap.
Dig Deeper.
Yeah, that's Dig Deeper. You're going to be walking around telling people, you're going to say, feel my arms.
Okay.
Get into a personal space, done. Feel these arms.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Shaun.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.